Hey there, guys. Welcome back. I've been down at Disneyland for a few days and haven't been able to put out a video, so thought I'd get one out. In this video, we're going to cover the stock charts, where I think things are heading. We're at an area where things might really start happening, so I want to cover that, and that's why I want to get out this video. There's a possibility for a short trade here, but at the same time, the market has just been like grinding higher without any concern for really anything. So, and that's fine. You know, ultimately, that's usually from that kind of environment or those scenarios is when you get the big moves down, the big money making moves. So that's really what we're looking for is, you know, we're trying to read the signs on whether we're going to get a big move down. So. Again, I don't know where the market's heading. I'm just guessing. However, I use technical analysis to help me make educated guesses. And you know, really nobody knows where it's going. Everybody's using the information that they have to try to guess where the market's going. So these trade ideas are just my opinion and my own analysis. Let's get into it. We're going to cover the SPY here. What I want you to pay attention to on this chart is when I go to a weekly chart, so every single candle represents 1 week. This covers a large period of time. We can roll back all the way to 2009, and we can cover this uptrend that we've been in for a while. And you can see here's the lows of 2009, and then as we start to roll up, we start to hold that. You can see we've held that support. And then here we broke support. We also held that support right in here. You can see several weeks where we tagged that trend line and it held. We then broke that support. You can see we ran all the way up and tagged it from underneath as resistance, and that held, and we got the big surge down. And then we've been back testing all of 2019 on a pretty steep angle. But as we roll in, here's your red line right here, and you can see this week so far we're up over this. We've recovered this. But look at the volume, super low volume. The week's not over. So I suspect the week closes. We get some sort of major selling event at the end of the day today. You know, we got an hour left in trading, possibly Thursday or Friday. So I think it's objective to short right here. And let me dig down and show you, the other support line that we have. Moving into the daily chart. So this red line right here, this is your decade-long bull market. Trend line, and you can see right here we came right above it and it rejected, and now we've run up into it again, and so far we're above it. So right here we're above that, we've held, but you can see right here this trend line here that's moving up, this is also resistance. This goes all the way back to the most recent rally we've had since October of 2019. The market's just been in an uptrend. We held that right here, held it right in here, again held it right here, and then it broke and we gap down. If I zoom in, here we closed the day right there, and then the very following day it was a big gap down. And then this is just a back test. So we've run up and we've done back test. Notice the volume right here, decreasing volume. So as we've started to run higher, prices have been moving higher and higher. Volume has been moving lower and lower. So that's just something to pay attention to. Not necessarily the only indicator of a reversal, but it's something to pay attention to. And we're now smack dab at resistance. You can see that we've been in a really tight range right up here, but we're basically right at resistance. So this is resistance. It's objective to short here. And, that on the daily chart. If I zoom down to the hourly, you can see we've just been kind of walking the line right here at resistance. So oftentimes you'll see these things play out in kind of two ways. One, you'll get a surge higher, and that's usually the fake out move where it'll surge higher, breaking above this, and then instantly reverse that day or the following day, and you'll see strong selling come in. And that would be kind of your blow off top, basically, and sell off. Or we just gap down and potentially sell off. That's another scenario. But if you go back to the weekly chart, and again, on the hourly chart, this is your decade-long trend line right here. So we're just barely above it on really light volume. Ultimately the market's kind of testing it up here, seeing seeing if it can hold with really light volume. If it can hold up here, then you'll see most likely you'll see heavier volume come in and confirm that the market can hold above this and it wants to move higher. But right now it's light volume, so I suspect that we're not going to hold. If you look at the weekly chart here, going back to the weekly, this week right here, we're just above it. Every other week, we closed the week above it here. The following week, big sell-off, followed by another big impulsive sell down right there. And then here, you can see we just the wick on this weekly, we were above it, and then we closed the week below it. Here, the week, it's Wednesday, we're above it. Let's see where the week closes. If we get a strong weekly close above this, then and we can potentially break above this trend line right here, then the market maybe wants to go higher. And in that scenario, if we can hold above this for a few weeks, above this long trend line that I've been watching, then ultimately that foils the bearish case that I've been trying to make in my videos really since we broke down right here in 2018. The case that I've been making is that this was actually a breakdown and these are back tests within kind of the new trend, which should be down. We've just been back testing this trend line, and ultimately we're going to see some really strong selling coming in and a change in trend to a bear market. That's really been my thesis, and that plays out because we're trading below this trend, this longer term trend. If that changes and we're no longer trading below this longer term trend on a weekly basis and we can sustain that and hold, then I'd have to flip bullish in that scenario and play the market more from a bullish side, looking for more long trades on the SPYs and Q. Let's move over to the Qs. If we zoom out, we look at the weekly here, you can see I've marked this blue line out. We've got a couple tags right here, tagged it right there, and then we tagged it here, and then right in here. So we're right at that right here. We're just barely above it on the weekly. Again, the week's not over. So if we go to the daily, here you go, the blue line right here, we're just barely above it. Nothing major when it comes to volume, not a lot of major volume. We're overbought on the RSI. The RSI is at 73, so overbought. And this has the setup for a big reversal. It has the potential to reverse and close the week below this trend line right here. So a weekly close below this trend line confirms that this trend line, if I go back to the weekly, is a valid trend line, and we are at resistance. And this should, make us start to move down. So seems like a decent area to short, to maybe establish a starter short or add a little bit to a short that you've started. I have a starter short that I've established, and I like this area right here. And ultimately, it's just risk management at this point. If the market wants to move lower or move higher, then we stop out, take a small loss. And if it wants to move lower, we let this thing run, potentially add to it, and let our winners run. So that's what we're doing there. And that is really it. That's really the only thing I want to cover in this video. I just want to cover these general markets. And if anything changes or we start to get some major movement, I'll put out a more detailed video and cover some of the other charts. But for now, we just want to look at kind of the general market movement. So thanks for watching, and catch you guys on the next one. And give me a thumbs up. Appreciate that.